Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the GE Cooktop Glass Cooktop Assembly. It's going to be a very easy repair and it should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new Glass Cooktop Assembly. The Glass Cooktop Assembly is where you set your pans while you cook the food. The main reason to be changing it out is if it's broken or damaged. In order to remove the cooktop from the counter, we have to go underneath and look for any brackets that might be holding it down. Depending upon the make, the model, or the type of counter it's actually mounted in, you're actually going to have to go underneath and look and see what type of brackets you have and take them out so we can pull the cooktop out. Also, if you're going to take your cooktop to another location to work on it, you have to disconnect the power cable. Usually these 240 volt units are hardwired into the house, so you have to make sure your circuit breakers are off and disconnect the power. Our brackets are mounted right here. Yours may be elsewhere. Make sure you check all four sides of the cooktop to make sure you get them all. Once you have the screw out, you can bend the bracket down so you can pull it out with the cooktop. Now we can do the bracket on the other side. Same as the other side, when you have the screw out, we can bend the bracket down so we can pull the cooktop out. Now that we have the brackets disconnected from underneath the cooktop, we're ready to lift it up. The cooktops are usually sealed in with some sort of foam tape, and depending upon how many years it's been there and been sticking to the countertop, you may or may not be able to lift it up. So you can try to open up the door and push up from the bottom to see if it's going to lift up. If not, you may have to take a razor blade or a putty knife and carefully go around the cooktop, making sure you don't scratch the counter, and get all that tape cut so you can lift the cooktop up. We're just going to work on ours right here. If you're taking yours somewhere else, obviously you're going to support it differently, but we're going to lift it up and support it on these sticks. Once you have one side up, you can come around and pick the other side up and slide the other stick in. Now that we have it supported, we can take it apart to work on it. First thing we're going to do is take off the knobs. They're not held on by anything, so all you have to do is lift them off and set them aside. Now that we have the knobs off, we can use our Phillips screwdriver and remove all the screws that hold the top to the chassis. Now that we have the screws out, we can take the top off. There's usually some tape that goes between the glass and the chassis. If it's stuck, you can use a putty knife to help break it free. You want to go all the way around. Once you get it all broken free, you want to carefully lift up on the glass top. Make sure that all the shafts come out of the grommets, and then you can set it aside. Here's the old glass cooktop assembly next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. Now we're going to take it out and set it on a towel so we can put the new tape around it. We have this tape. It's 1/4 inch wide, and basically we need to lay out 4 pieces and cut them to length and then stick them on. And you don't want to overlap the corners. You just want to butt them up so you get a good seal without doubling the thickness of the tape. Once you have the tape laid out, you can kind of just mark it with your finger, and then we can cut it, and then we can peel the backing off and lay it down. When you lay the tape down, you want to be careful that you don't stretch it at all, otherwise you'll end up with too much. It's not really that big of a deal. You can just trim the extra off, but try not to stretch it. Again, if it stretches a little bit, all you have to do is carefully cut it off, making sure you don't scratch the glass. Now we can do the other 3 sides. Now when you stick this down, you don't want to overlap the corners. You just want to butt it up so you can get as good a tight seal as you can. If you overlap it, it's going to be too thick and it won't sit right on the countertop. Once you have the tape laid down, you can go around and tap it down to make sure it's got a good contact with the glass. And then we can carefully lift up the glass cooktop assembly and put it back on the cooktop. Our cooktop has this clear tape that goes around the top of the metal frame, a little insulator between the glass and the metal. If yours is torn or damaged, you want to peel the tape off and replace it with a new piece. This clear tape comes on a roll from GE. Make sure you check all 4 sides of your cooktop and replace any that looks bad. Just want to line it up with the edge of the metal and press it down into place. And then we can trim the ends off once we have it laid down. To put the glass cooktop assembly back on, we're going to carefully line it up and look down through the little grommets there and line it up with the first 2 infinite switch shafts. And then we can slowly set it down. Carefully push it down all the way. And then once you have it in place, we can go around and put all the screws in. Now that we have the glass top reinstalled, we can put the knobs on. The burner knobs all go on the same way. There's a little tab right here that you have to line up with the shaft right here and then push it on. The last 2 selector knobs have a D-shaped shaft, so you want to make sure that you match up the flat on the knob with the flat on the shaft and then push it on. Now that we have the knobs on, we can put the cooktop back on the counter. If you want to get somebody to help you at this point, you can, but we're going to lift up the cooktop and pull out the support sticks and set it down into the counter. Once you have it in the hole, you can make sure it's straight and go underneath and finish connecting everything. To put the bracket back on, we're just going to bend it back over and put the screw in. Now we can put the bracket in on the other side. We're going to lift it up and put the screw in. Now that we have the cooktop remounted, we can turn the circuit breakers back on and make sure it starts to heat. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.